Listen carefully. Most people believe they are not successful because they are lazy, undisciplined, or not focused enough. They wake up every day blaming themselves for not being consistent, not motivated, not strong enough. But what if the problem is not effort? What if the real problem is that your mind is running on instructions you did not choose? From the moment you were born, your mind started learning how the world works. Not through lessons, but through observation, through repetition, through emotional experiences. No one sat you down and said, "This is your limit." Instead, you watched how people around you lived. You noticed what they struggled with. You noticed what they accepted as normal. And slowly, quietly, your mind recorded it all. Your environment became your teacher. If you grew up seeing struggle every day, struggle became familiar. If you grew up hearing that life is hard, your mind accepted difficulty as truth. If you saw people fail again and again, your mind learned what to expect. This is how invisible programming begins. Not as words, but as patterns. School trained your mind to wait for instructions. Religion, in many cases, trained your mind to endure instead of question. Society trained your mind to fear judgment more than failure. And repeated disappointments trained your mind to lower expectations. None of this happened loudly. That is why it feels normal. And anything that feels normal is rarely questioned. So when you try to change your life today, your mind does not resist you aggressively. It does something more dangerous. It reminds you of who you have always been. It brings thoughts like, "This is not realistic. People like you don't succeed like that. You've tried before and failed. Be careful. Don't get your hopes up." And because these thoughts sound familiar, you believe them. This is not intuition. This is not wisdom. This is programming. Your mind is simply protecting the version of reality it knows. Understand this clearly. Your mind's primary job is not to make you successful. Its primary job is to keep you safe. Safe means familiar. Safe means predictable. Safe means staying within known boundaries, even if those boundaries are painful. That is why motivation fades. That is why affirmations sometimes feel empty. That is why you start strong and slowly return to old habits. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are running old code. And here is the most important truth of this volume. You cannot outwork a program you are not aware of. Trying harder without awareness only creates frustration. You push, your mind pulls you back. You feel inspired, then tired. You feel clear, then confused. Because awareness always comes before change. Right now, as you listen to this, something important is happening. You are beginning to see your thoughts from a distance, and that distance matters. Because the moment you can observe a pattern, you are no longer fully controlled by it. Notice how many of your thoughts feel automatic. Notice how quickly doubt appears when you imagine something bigger for yourself. Notice how your mind immediately calculates risk, loss, embarrassment, and failure. This does not mean you are negative. It means your mind was trained to survive, not expand. And survival thinking has a very specific language. It speaks in caution, in delay, in later, in one day, in when things are right. Expansion thinking speaks differently, but you cannot access it until you first recognize the voice that has been running your life. So for now, do not try to change anything. Do not fight your thoughts. Do not force positivity. Do not try to become someone else overnight. Just observe. Observe how often your mind chooses comfort over growth. Observe how often it prefers certainty over possibility. Observe how it quietly pulls you back to what feels known. This observation is not weakness. It is the beginning of reprogramming. Because what was learned can be unlearned. What was programmed can be rewritten. And what feels permanent is often just familiar. In the next volume, we will go deeper. We will expose why your mind argues against your progress, why fear sounds like logic, and why not every thought deserves your attention. For now, remember this. You are not late. You are not behind. You are waking up. And awareness is always the first upgrade. One of the most dangerous misunderstandings about the mind is the belief that it always wants what is best for you. This belief keeps many people trapped, confused, and frustrated. Because the truth is simpler and more uncomfortable. Your mind is not designed to make you successful. It is designed to keep you alive. Long before success was ever a concept, survival was the priority. Your brain evolved to protect you from danger, loss, rejection, and uncertainty. And to the survival mind, change itself is a threat. This is why, the moment you try to grow, your mind begins to argue. Not loudly, not aggressively, but logically. It tells you to be careful. It tells you to wait. It tells you to think more. It tells you to prepare better. And because these thoughts sound reasonable, you obey them. You assume they are wisdom. But listen closely. Fear rarely announces itself as fear. Fear disguises itself as logic. It sounds like, now is not the right time. You need more information. What if this doesn't work? Let's be realistic. The survival mind does not say, I am afraid. It says, I am being smart. And this is how people stay stuck while believing they are being responsible. The survival mind values certainty over possibility. It prefers a familiar struggle to an unfamiliar improvement. It would rather you stay unhappy in what you know than risk peace in what you don't. This is why you can clearly see what you should do and still feel unable to do it. Your mind is not confused. It is protecting the known version of your life. Understand this deeply. Every time you imagine a bigger future, your mind immediately scans for danger. Not physical danger, but emotional danger. Rejection, failure, embarrassment, loss of identity, loss of belonging. To the survival mind, these feel just as threatening as physical harm. So it pulls you back. It reminds you of past failures. It exaggerates risks. It minimizes potential rewards. It brings fatigue before effort even begins. And when you listen to it long enough, you mistake hesitation for intuition. This is the trap. Intuition is quiet and clear. Fear is loud and repetitive. Intuition guides. Fear delays. Yet most people follow fear because it speaks first. Now here's something important to notice. Your survival mind is strongest when you are still, when you overthink, when you imagine without acting. The moment you move, its voice weakens. This is why action feels uncomfortable at first. You are stepping outside the survival zone, and discomfort does not mean danger. It means unfamiliarity. Your mind has no data yet, so it panics. But panic is not a signal to stop. It is a signal that you are leaving old territory. The survival mind hates uncertainty, but growth lives inside it. This is why you cannot wait to feel ready. Readiness is a feeling the survival mind withholds. If it were in charge, you would never feel ready, because readiness would mean permission to change. And change threatens its role. So instead of trying to silence the survival mind, you must learn something more powerful. You must stop identifying with it. You are not the voice that hesitates. You are the awareness that hears it. Right now, as you listen, notice how thoughts come and go. Notice how one thought suggests safety, another suggests delay, another suggests doubt. You are watching them. That means you are not them. This distance is everything. Because the moment you realize a thought is only a suggestion, not a command, you regain choice. The survival mind will still speak, but it no longer decides. You begin to see thoughts as weather, not directions. And slowly, something shifts. You stop asking, how do I get rid of fear? And you start asking, why am I listening to it? Fear can exist without control. Doubt can appear without authority. You do not need confidence to move forward. You need understanding. Understanding that your mind's resistance is not a warning. It is a habit. A habit formed by years of protecting a small, predictable life. and habits can change. In the next volume, we will go deeper into the most powerful layer of all, the layer that controls behavior even when motivation is high, the layer that decides what feels natural and what feels impossible. We will talk about identity, because until identity changes, effort will always feel heavy. For now, remember this: your mind is not your enemy, but it is not your leader either. You are. And the moment you stop obeying every thought, you begin to step out of the survival trap.